Hello best friends, it's Femoskeydev here and welcome to module 2 of using the Flowbite Design System to recreate this UI that we got from Dribble. And in the last video, we created the sidebar, which is this, using the Flowbite Design System. We went over how to apply the number variables to our spacing system. We talked about the colors and also how to apply them. So in this video, we're going to be recreating the sidebar and we'll still be using the Flowbite Design System. All right, let's dive right into it. So first, we need to analyze first, right? What do we need? We need an input field, which is a sidebar, a search bar. Then we also need the icon shape component. Then we need an avatar component. So this is going to be a very quick one and very simple. All right. So what we're going to do here is we'll select this. You can either hit Shift I to access your components panel. Then you can search for whatever components that you need. So in our case, we need a nav bar. So I'm going to search for the nav bar here. And you can see we have the nav bar components here. And I'm going to place this here. So I'm picking it directly from the Flowbite design system. Remember. All right. Back to this. I'm going to select this and I'm going to go to my design panel here and switch it to with search inputs. So you can see now we now have a search input here, but we're trying to use this design system and create something that is dynamic, right? Just not something that is just generic. So we have to detach this navbar. So I'll select this. You can right click on your keyboard and hit detach instance, or you can hit Control Alternate B on your keyboard to detach the instance. So now what do we need? We already have our sidebar here. This is our nav bar. So we don't need this guy here. So you can see it's also a component, which is the nav content here. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to detach the nav component contents. That's control alternates B in our case. Then I'll select this and delete the logo. Then I'll leave the input field. Okay, I think we are done with this section, right? Then what else do we need? We need what? The icons. That's icon 1, icon 2. Then we need an avatar. So let's check. What do we have here? You can see here we have nav links. We don't need nav links, so I'm going to delete the nav links. Now we have two icons already, so we can work with that and you can basically update the icon components. That's by using this instance swap property that has been turned on for you. What else do we need? We need an avatar here, so I'm going to bring in an avatar. So I'll select this. I'm just going to change it. I'll swap it. So I'll click here and search for avatar, and you can see we have avatar here. We have avatar group label. This is the one I need. I'll select this. Right, so yeah, then you can see we have the avatar, but we don't have a helper text. So we can come here, select this and use our property panel here and hide the helper text. So we already have the title or the label, right? So in our own case, I'm going to type Femoskeydev, which is my own name. Okay, I think I misspelled that. Femoskeydev, right? And I'm also going to update the picture here. So I can click this. I can either swap between whatever pictures that are here, but I would love to add my own picture. So I have to detach this first. Then I'll click on this and brings out the image model. I'll click on this to add an image. I'll go to pictures here, and I think I have my own picture here. Select this, and I'm going to add that here. So I think we have like the generic structure of our navbar. Now we want to make it to look exactly like this. So what do we need to do? As usual, we have to try and understand the spacing system that was used here. But the best part is we've applied it already on the sidebar here. So which means at the top of this, it's going to be the same value here. So here we have 36. So I'll select this and update this to 36 here. So that's 4 times 9, 36. You can see at top and bottom. 36, right? But I can't use 36 for the bottom because when you are building a UI, right, it's assumed that you have the space here. So it's not attached together. In most cases, your sidebar has a particular amount of space here. Then this, um, the main area, right, takes the overall space. So what I love to do is I would scroll a little bit down, and you can see here, maybe we have, I think it's around 24 pixels here. So you can see that's like 29, so around 24 pixels. So what I'm going to do in my case is I'm going to delete this, and I'll set this to 24 pixels. So 24 pixels, 24 pixels, right? Good. Then the remaining value right now is going to be my padding for my bottom, the bottom padding for the sidebar. So that's around 6. So I'll just use 12 and I'll move from there. Okay, so looking at this here, now since we applied a variable here, we can't click here and use comma and maybe hit 12. We can't do that, right? So what we have to do is to detach the variable first. So we said top and bottom is top is 36 and the bottom is going to be 12. So I'll hit this and hit comma 12. Now in Figma, I noticed that you can't apply um, different variables to either top and bottom individually. So what I love to do is I'll click on an empty space. I'll click on this spark. Then you can see we have this section here. So what I'm going to do here is I can now apply my variable here. You can see here to the top. I want this to be 36 and I want the bottom to be 12 pixels. So that's 3 and we're good to go. So what else do we need here? We also need the padding on the left, right, and right. So here you can see we have 26. That's like 28. So I think, let me see. That's 27. So it means this is 28, right? So we have 28 here and 28 here. That's 4 times 7. So you can see that I'm making use of a 4-point spacing system. So I'll select this left and right. I'll apply 28 and I'll also apply 28 here. That's 7 times 4, right? So 28. Then what I'm going to do is I'll make sure this is all content. Then I can bring this here, or basically you can align to the top using alternate W to make sure it's at the top. Then for this, I'll make sure it is here. And I'll take this to the top. Okay, good. Then I can now bring this guy this way. Okay, now you can see that there's an error here, right? So which means that the inner component, which is this, it is set to a fixed value, right? So we need to set it to what? To fill container. So I'll click on this and set it to what? Fill container. And I think we are good to go. Now, in order to achieve this, right? So that we have the search bar filling this area. What I love to do is I love to create my main area container. So we're going to do this quickly. So before we do that, let's analyze if we are done with the sidebar, the top navbar first. So for the top navbar, we don't want a background view, so I'll remove that. So what else again? We don't also want a stroke. So because there's no stroke here, you can see there's no any stroke. What else do we need? Um, this is white color, so I can go inside here, then update this to BG white. So you can see we have BG white here, right? So I'll use BG white, or I can use BG primary. It's still white, so BG primary. If I detach that, you can see it is white. BG primary. What else? Then it has a stroke, so you can see the stroke here. All of this stroke right now, they have the same value. So for the stroke, let's keep it at stroke base medium, or you can use strong depending on what you want, right? And looking at this also, there's no background anywhere here. So, and on ours, we have a background, so I'll detach that background here. Then theirs is fully rounded corners, and ours is just 12 pixels. So we can click on this, Then for Flowbite, you can see we have 99999. So that's rounded full. So if I select this, it's going to give me that full rounded corners. What else do we need to do? Remember that we are using the huge icon pack, so we have to update this also. That's the icon here. So I'll select this. You can even select the search the input field itself and update from your property panel here. So you can swap the instance. So I'll search for search bar, then I'll switch this to huge icons. Then you can update that way, right? Okay, we are good to go. So make sure you also update the color of your icon. You want it to be seamless, so you want it to be the same color as the color of your text here. So you can see speaking from the huge icon, that's dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use text body, or you can even use text body subtool. Maybe you want it to be a little bit subtle, and this is text body 2. You can see, right? This is text body subtool, this is text body subtool. So I think we are good to go here. Yeah. Then what else do we need to do? You can check and basically just, I think the spacing system is good and we are good to go. The size of this is 36 pixel. Let's be sure that ours too is ours is matching theirs. So I'll use the rectangle here. That's around 48 pixels. So we can also do that to ours too. So what I'm going to do, I'll select this. It has org. Maybe I can go inside, select this, right? Then I'll update this to 48. So I'll apply variable here. Scroll down um, to 48, which is this, right? Let me set it to a fixed value first. Yeah, 48. So you can see that. Okay. We can also check to be sure if our own spacing and theirs is the same. If you want to do that, that's we are trying to recreate it exactly. So you can come here and measure this. You can see that 16 pixels. So which means, and you can also check this too. I think we don't need to even check the space at the top because we've already added a fixed value to this. Okay. So I'll select this. So you make sure that left and right, see ours is 10. So I'll click on this, update this to 16. That's 4, right? So we are good to go. Now, looking at this right now, this fills the whole container, right? So I'm going to say fill container. This also, that's the logo and input container. You can either remove that or you can leave it. I'll set it to also fill container. So it fills the overall container, right? And I think that's pretty much it. We're good to go on the search bar. Then what we need to do also is the space between the search bar and these nav icons. So what we're going to do here is we can come here and get the space here. Now you can see this is around 29, so it's also 28. But there's something that we need to check because we'll be applying a layout grid here. So you can see this is different value. This is 24, right? So instead of using their own 28, because I want it in I want it so that this is well aligned, right? The space between this and this is the same. So I'll use 24 pixels here. You can also check the space between each container here. That's each icon here. We have 24 pixels there. All right, cool. So let's come here. So I'll select this container first. Space between, it's not going to be auto, so I'll set it to what, to fixed value, and I'll update it to 24 pixels. So that's 6 times 4, 24. Then for these two, we're going to update this to what, 24 pixels. All right, back to this. Now we are done with our search bar. Then we need to fix this icon. So the icons too, we have to set them to what, to 48 pixels. So either you can come here, switch to base. So you can see the base is 40 pixels. Let's set it to large and see. Yeah, large is 44. So I think extra large is 48. Yeah, we are good to go. So yeah, I think we have to set this to fill container too. Good. So the space between, you can see we have right content. Always pay attention to the sidebar, to the layer panel. Very, very important, right? So we have buttons here and we have right content. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ungroup these guys here, Control Alternate G, right? Good. So that I can now add the padding inside of this. So the padding is 24, this is 24. Okay, looking at this right now, you can see there's a divider line here. So we have to create the divider line components because the Flowbite Design System doesn't have a divider line. So if I hit Shift I and I search for divider, there's nothing that is popping up. And you can check the system itself. There's nothing like a divider line. So we have to create that component, which this is a very essential component that doesn't exist in a lot of design system. But I think the Untitled Design System has this. So we'll be creating this. So I'll just use a rectangle, Control R. That's R on my keyboard. Then I'll draw a rectangle here, right? So the size of the rectangle should be 2 pixels. The height doesn't matter because it is vertical. So let's just use maybe 56. It doesn't really matter. Whatever size you give it, you are good to go because we set it to fill container. So I'm going to drag this out here. I'll set the color to be the color of my border. That's the color of the stroke here. So I can come back here and check, okay, what's the color that I use here? So you can see I use border base strong. So you can come back to this, select it, then set the field to border base strong. This is it here. And I'll make this a component, Control Alternate K, or you can right click and create components, right? Or you can come here and create components. Now after doing this, what I need to do is I would rename and name it divider line. Then I'll add a variant because I want the horizontal variant. So just in case if we need that in the future, I love to do that. So I'll add auto layout to this, Shift A, and make sure it is directed horizontally. And I'm gonna hit plus here so that it's added this way. Good. So now for this right now, I'll hit enter and hit Q to select matching layers. That's I'm selecting the rectangle. So I can hit Control R to rename this as line, right? Then I'll hit Q back just to select one back. Now I think for this we're good to go. I'll make sure it is set to the width is set to view container. Why it does not happening here is because we've not added auto layouts to the main container, right? This is this. So I'll select both of them and add auto layouts to this. So we're good to go. So for this right now, I'll go inside line, make sure this is set to fill container, this is set to fill container. I can hit Q to select matching layers. So this is set to fill container, this is also set to fill container. So we're good to go. So for this, hit Q back. So I select one. Let me select this. I'll update this here. The type is vertical. Then this should be horizontal, right? But let's make it horizontal first. So for this guy right now, we have to make sure that we are switching the values, right? So this is 2 and this is 56, right? So we'll set this towards horizontal. So we have 2 of the divider line variant. So I can copy this, Ctrl C, or I can go to my assets panel and place it in. So we want it to be here. So I'll select this guy here. Then I can now go to assets panel, created in this file. So you can see created in this file that I can drag and drop this inside here. Good. Now I want it to fill container right on the height to fill the container. So I'll come here and set this to fill container and we're good to go. Right? Yeah, we're good to go. Okay, each of these also has like a stroke. So I'll select this, add a stroke. Remember, we are using border base long our stroke and it's fully rounded. So go to the corner radius here and update this to fully rounded. And I think the stroke should be 2 pixels too. Or you can, let's just use 1.5 instead. So 1.5 looks better. This also, we can set it to 1.5 and we are good to go. So what else? We also have to update the avatar itself. So for the avatar, I can come here, select this avatar, and change it to what, to LG. So LG, the size is 44. I think XL is 56. So I'll leave it at LG, right? Yeah, I think this is good to go for this, since they don't have the variant for 48 pixels, and you can't update this way except if you detach this component, and I don't want to do that. So you can also go back to the design system. So you can right click, go back here. Since this is yours now, you can go back here and update this. So if they don't have a particular variant you want, you can see they have LG and this is XL. So you can go here and maybe add 2XL, convert this to 2XL and make this maybe the that's like what I'm saying is this. I can duplicate this here, then I can make this LG or XL. Then this should be 2XL, right? Let me switch them. So the difference here is for this, I want this to be 48. So I'll select this, select XL. That's 56. I want it to be 48. So that is 12 times 4. Then this should also be 48. Good. So you can see now, this is now set to what, to 48. So you can do that if you want to do that. So let's come back here. Um, and after you make any updates here, you have to always publish it so that you can see it on other design files, right? So you have to publish it here. So you have to come back here, click on this, click on this, then you have to publish. You can see we have some changes here that we can publish. So you have to publish that. All right then. So back to this. I think we are basically done with the whole of this. Looking at this, we're done with the side, the navbar. What else do we need to do here? I think we don't need to do anything, right? Aside from adding the main container. So I'll hit F on my keyboard and drag the main container here. And take it to the top. If you are not seeing the top, right, just select both of them, then come here. You can see, right, where we have this spacing here. Then we can select this and hit 0. So we want the spacing to be 0. Then this should also be aligned to this place here. Then I can also add a layout grid. So I can come here, under layout grid, we have a lot of grid here. So I want the one with 12 column. I can click and type 12. So 12 column and the gap is 16. This is what we have, but we don't need this, so we can still detach and update, or you can go and update it from design system if you want to keep reusing it, or you can just make this your own base style right on this file. So for this, I'll change the color to 000. I like using black. Then the margin is going to be 28 on the left and right. Good. Then you can also apply a variable here if you want to do that. You can see they're very useful. If you want to apply a variable, you can do that. So that would be 7. Then the gutter right now, that's the space between each content, each section and this section. We remember we measured it as 24. So we can come here and say we want to use 24 here. That's 4 times 6. We have 24. And this is what our main area. So what I love to do is I'll rename this Control R and rename this as main area. So to make this look better, looking at this right now, if you don't know how to get the actual value here, that's the space that this is occupying. What you can do is you can duplicate this, take it here, take it here. So you can see now this is taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 columns, right? And this is taking 4 columns. So you can come here. You can also select this and copy that layout grid and paste it here, or you can just make your layout grid a style on its own. So say layouts, base layout grid, right? Base layout grid, or you can say desktop layout grid instead. Desktop layout grid, so that you can apply this here too. Come here under layout grid here. Then we can look for desktop layout grid and we apply that here. So we want this guy now to fill 8 columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this should fill 8 columns. Let me zoom in. Let me set it to fill container. I think I'll select the logo and input. I can just remove that since there's no logo and input container. Control Shift G. So I'll leave the input alone. So for the input, I can drag this way to sit on that. You can see everything is sitting pretty here. This is also set to 24, right? Yeah. This is also set to this. This is good. And I think we are pretty much done with our navbar. And yeah, I'm seeing an arrow here. Let me delete this because I think this is a mistake. All right then. So this is the end of module 2. Hope to see you in module 3. Remember, we are trying to make use of the Flowbite Design System to recreate this design. All right, in module 3, we are going to be recreating this section, and this is going to be very, very interesting because everything we are using is from the Flowbite Design System. How to update it, how to use it, how to apply the variables, and use the necessary tokens. See you in the next video. I remain your favorite product designer, Oluwafemi Lawal, or you can call me Femoskeydev. Bye, guys.